So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining this How to Enter the RIDI Awards webinar. Apologies for my croaky voice. I've not been very well. Hopefully everybody can understand me clearly. We have just one session today. We should last around about 40 minutes, depending on how lively everybody is and how many questions we might get from you all. So there won't be a break. We'll just do a slot. If anybody needs captions, then the automated captions are available within Teams. If anybody requires assistance with that, just please put a message in the chat and one of the team will help you to turn them on. And if anybody has any questions as we go along, feel free to use the chat. This is quite a friendly and informal session, as all events linked to the Recruitment Industry Disability Initiative are. So yeah, please just say hi and ask any questions. But whilst our speakers are speaking, I'd ask you to kindly keep your microphones muted. So that's all from me on housekeeping. It gives me great pleasure to hand over to Kate Headley, who is the chair of RIDI and founder of RIDI, and is from the Clear Company. Kate, over to you.
Thanks, Catherine, and sorry about the voice. I could have taken that off you had I known. So if there's anything we can do to support you, please do let us know. We can step in accordingly. So first of all, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining this, and thank you for having the interest and support of the Recruitment Industry Disability Initiative. I'm Kate Headley, as Catherine's already said, and so my day job is I'm one of the executive directors and indeed the founder of the Clear Company, which I founded 20 years ago, which makes me feel terribly old now. And Clear Company, as some of you may well know, we are a diversity inclusion global organisation, consultancy and digital solutions. And it's actually on the backdrop of that as my day job that I've immersed myself in disability confidence for at least the last 20 years, if not longer. And as part of that, I did a significant piece of research into where the barriers were and why we still have this substantial employment gap for disabled colleagues, and identified at that point that the recruitment industry had the power to be a really positive enabler of change around disability confidence, and set out with some colleagues, which are still with me today, most of them, to say, well, how can we, Maria being one of them, in fact, and indeed Catherine, to say how can we empower this industry, how can we engage with it so that the good intentions of people working in a people sector are translated into best practice and an inclusive experience for job seekers, and specifically disabled job seekers. Our latest research, which is around about 4 or 5 years ago now, so that's something we need to put on the agenda for next year, co-RIDI exec people, is that through our network of pioneers across the sector, we are touching the lives of over 500,000 disabled job seekers annually. And through the information we're getting now through the Pioneers programme and other research projects that we've done, certainly the year before last, we did a big piece of research around the experience. We're positively impacting on that experience, and that feels really good. So for all of those reasons, which fundamentally boil down to the fact that we can't afford to miss any talented people in our organisations, we don't want to not include talented people in our organisations and make sure they have a very positive experience. So if there's anything about policy, practice or process that's getting in the way, it's RIDI's job to highlight that to the recruitment industry and to in-house recruiters alongside our experts at Even Break and Guidant and of course the Clear Company. So we're really excited about this year's awards. We've got a great session for you. And what powers our ability to create change is the case studies, some of whom you're going to hear from today, the small things and the big things, the little actions of an individual or the big corporate programs that change lives and enable other people to share that learning and think, do you know what, I can have a go. And that's why, as Maria will explain, within the RIDI Awards, there's always a celebration of people who are at the beginning of their journey. And there's always a celebration of individuals doing things that, or teams doing things that are just that little bit special, but change people's lives. So Today's agenda I've already started on, which is welcome introduction to RIDI, so you know who we are and what we're doing. So about the RIDI Awards and why they're important. So we'll be talking about the RIDI Awards in more detail. We're going to hear from our chair of judges and our judging panel. So there's a real opportunity here to hear what you need to do to get noticed. But my top tip is we're all about impact. So it's meaningful action that creates meaningful change, and you can't go far wrong, quite frankly. We're going to hear from some of our winners, from last year's winners specifically, which is great. So thank you to them for putting the time in again for RIDI, as you've repeatedly done. We do appreciate it. Really importantly, how to enter, because you must. You've got to be in it to win it. And I think you'll hear from organisations who either want to learn or want to share their story or want to build their business to empower others to do well in this space. RIDI is a really good vehicle for all of those things. We're going to share some top tips from the judges and obviously the important key dates so that you know what you've got to do and by when. The big one's end of September, can I just say, so you need to get cracking. So that's basically the agenda that we're going to go through. I've talked to you about why RIDI was set up, and I'm now going to talk to you about why we created the RIDI Awards. And very specifically, we created the RIDI Awards to celebrate best practice and to move people, as I say, from those good intentions to those actionable interventions. And so we could celebrate them. And in a nutshell, what happened was we realised we've got lots of case studies and thought we'll do a case study library. And then we thought, well, no, let's just celebrate them. But let's just put some meat on the bone around the RIDI Awards. So you don't need a black tie. You don't need a posh frock. You just need to come with passion and enthusiasm around disability inclusion and work with like-minded people over an evening reception where you will definitely make new partnerships and you will definitely learn new things. It is without doubt the best evening of the year for me and for colleagues around RIDI. There's just something about the positivity and the reality that RIDI brings that's very special to our culture. I'd like to thank our partners, because without our partners we can't exist. So for those of you who think, oh, I'll get in touch with RIDI and they can help me with this, they can help me with something else. Nobody works for RIDI, okay? We're all volunteers. And we've got some funding from our partner companies in order to do the awards and also our Education and Pioneers programme, which I'm going to talk to you about. So our RIDI partners are Amazon, who came on board as a gold partner this year, but actually last year they were a partner for us, which enabled us to do our House of Commons reception, which we had the Minister for Disabled People at, and we'll be looking to do one of those again over the next couple of years. So if anybody's interested in being part of that, please do let me know, because we will be doing that again. It was just so powerful. The Clear Company, obviously founders, and we are gold partners, and we provide alongside guidance the social media and marketing support, the secretariat, and all of my time. And we also provide educative top tips alongside Even Break, which Jane provides. Then we've got DWF, the law firm, who've already hosted our Pioneers event earlier this year, which was superb. Guidant Global, who I've mentioned, who via Stephen, who is just incredible. And if you're a pioneer, you'll have met him. It supports the Pioneer programme and works with Claire and the Clear Company team on social media. We've got Lloyd, who've consistently, with their generosity, provided frankly cash to enable the awards to happen, and for wonderful partners such as our design partners and obviously our partners in Attendable for events to do what they do. And Attendable are terrible at giving us stuff for free, but they do have a living to make, so we do make sure that we get funding for that as well. And so just moving on, RIDI Pioneers, which we kind of launched properly in, I think it was May, might have been June of this year at DWF. That's a free membership community, so no money at all. But as you've probably gathered with RIDI, we do need action. So we're looking for organisations who aspire to be pioneers. You don't have to be out at the front at the moment, but if you think, I'd like to be part of change, the recruitment sector, I'd like to learn, I'd like to share my learning, I'd like to be in a community of other like-minded people where we can push the boundaries and go to RIDI with an idea or a concept that we'd like to do, we'd like to promote, or go to the Minister via RIDI with something that we think could change and impact disabled people's lives via our sector, then please do reach out and get involved in the Pioneer programme. They've got their own award this year as well. And Stephen's already paired various people across the Pioneer network who've been able to support each other through candidate management, job opportunities, employer engagement, and they've got together and changed lives already. So I can't encourage you enough. If you don't feel ready to enter the awards this year, maybe join the Pioneers as your segue into that. That will give you everything you need to know as well about disability confidence and the journey that you would go on there. So essentially, there's more information about that on the website, which is coming up in the chat, hopefully. And you can access that, or you can reach out to any of us on the call today and we can provide you with that. If you would like to support us on the awards, and there are sponsorship opportunities for this year's awards, and obviously the sooner you get involved in that, the better, because you will have a longer lead time in terms of the social media and the presence, and also we can therefore access your networks in terms of encouraging people to enter, attend and learn from. It's worth saying that the numbers are limitless at the awards because we have a hybrid event, so there will be an in-person event for which the tickets will go really, really quickly. But there is a virtual opportunity to join that event as well. So there are no barriers. There's also opportunities to be silver and gold partners for next year and be part of events such as we're doing today, and we can share the sponsorship pack with you in the chat. But if anybody is interested, please do get in touch with us. And then finally, it gives me enormous pleasure to introduce our new chair of judges, taking over this year from the awesome Jane Hatton, no pressure at all, but Maria Zedder, welcome to the chair position. I know you've been a judge for many years, and perhaps you would be good enough to share about this year's awards and introduce us to some of the judges.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kate. And indeed, being head of judges this year is quite the task, particularly following on from Jane at Even Break, but I'm going to try and do my best. So for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Maria Zedder, and basically up until very recently, I was the Senior Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Manager at High Speed 2, but also I am currently a judge on the Show Trust Power List 100 for disabled influencers in the UK, and I also have the pleasure of being head of judges here for RIDI. And just a little bit about me, I'm very, very passionate about disability inclusion. I am severely to profoundly deaf myself, and I'm very passionate, particularly, you can probably hear from my accent, I'm originally Italian, and basically growing up in a different culture with disability has kind of pushed me to really believing in the difference that disability inclusion and accessibility can make. So I am so honored and pleased to be able to act this year as head of judges for RIDI. And basically, what I'm going to do is we're going to cover some key information about the awards, for such as the categories for this year, and what the judging criteria is. I really want you to feel confident in understanding what we're looking for, so that then we can make sure that you can complete the application, the entry, the best you can for the best chance to be shortlisted and nominated. And then at the end, I'm going to bring in a fellow judge, Heather Lacey. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. If I am not, please correct me. And then she and I are going to have a chat. So basically, first of all, let's take a look at the categories this year. There are 9 categories to choose from. As you can see them, they are listed there. I'm going to read them out. They are building disability confidence, creating disability confident recruiters. So the first one would be mostly about people who are at the beginning of the journey of disability confidence and are showing great promise. Also for creating disability confident recruiters, that is really key. If you have started that process and you know that there are in your organization, there are recruiters who have been able to bring in disabled talent, please nominate them and share with the world the great work that they're doing. Also, we have disability confidence overall, but for the private and public sector. We have decided to split those two categories because it is really unfair to kind of, compare under the same award such different sectors. Private sectors have their own unique challenges, and public sectors have as well as the non-profit organization. So we felt it was fair to sort of split the award between the two further categories. And then we have a disability specialist, which is about basically trying to identify unique project or people who are doing something different. And it's really important to share this because people reading from the awards and learning from the awards, they will be able to understand what all other people are doing out there, a new initiative, innovation in disability, inclusive recruitment. Also, we have an award for the best inclusive recruitment campaign, and that is really, really important because essentially recruitment campaigns can really make a difference, and they can really be the enabling that foot in the door for the many disabled people in trying to access employment, and we want to celebrate that. The next category is for inclusive technology. This is going to be a really exciting one because every year we learn so much from that, from the innovation and the new ways in which people are using technology to facilitate the recruitment of disabled people, and in turn making things easier for everyone else. We also will be looking at celebrating agencies, teams, or organizations that are essentially the pioneer of the year, those who are promoting innovation, pioneering new initiatives that facilitate disabled people's employment. And then we also have Pioneer of the Year, and this is specifically for individuals who are particularly shining bright, in this area. One thing that I really want to recommend is if you can't decide, first of all, you can enter more than one category. And then if you are not sure which category you should be entering, because sometimes there are overlapping qualities for each entry. For example, you might have a particular, an individual who is a disability specialist, but also they are a pioneer as well. So do not worry, enter them for both categories or enter at least one, and then with the judges, we are going to actually shuffle you around a little bit just to make sure that you are entered in the best category where you have the greatest chance of being shortlisted or nominated. So I hope that gives you the feeling that we really want to showcase the good stuff that you're doing, and we really want to help you shine. And then in terms of the judging criteria, I think we can go on the next slide. Yes, thank you so much. We thought it might be helpful to briefly cover the judging criteria so that you know what we're looking for in terms of how we score in the entries. So at the top, you'll see commitment to disability inclusion, and that means that we are looking at the extent to which the organization demonstrates a strong commitment to disability inclusion through clear policies, leadership support, and the dedicated resources specifically to disability inclusion. The other criteria will be around innovation and partnership. Clearly, innovation and partnership are all about collaboration, and I'm really advancing accessibility and looking at the creativity and innovation displayed in developing new approaches or working in partnership with other organizations to promote accessibility and inclusion in the recruitment process. So, for example, it could be using new technology to anonymize curriculum and at the same time making the process accessible and inclusive. The other criteria that we are looking at will be impact and measurable results. That is really key because sometimes it is very good to be enthusiastic and to share the details of what you're trying to achieve. But actually, it's really important to also highlight the measurable outcomes and the positive impact achieved through your initiative. It could be that you want to highlight an improvement of increased representation of individuals with disabilities within the workforce, or the fact that you have improved your retention rate. Or you might want to share the fact that, disabled people are exposed and can achieve better progression opportunities through the organization. Sharing a story, sharing your data would be really great. And then finally, overall excellence is about the overall quality and comprehensiveness of the organization's disability inclusion, the practices, as well as the potential to serve as role model for other recruiters and employers. And that's really important as well because this is a unique opportunity to share good practice and enable other organizations to learn from what you're doing. Remember that each criterion gets a score out of 5. So each entry gets a maximum of 20 points. And remember that if you don't tell us about it in your entry, essentially we can't give you any points for it. So it's really important that you fulfill each criterion as part of the entry. But do not worry, because later on in the webinar, we are going to show you how you can do that. Now, I just want to introduce you very briefly to the panel of judges. These are the people that you need to impress with your entries. Many of our panel have judged for several years, and they have great experience and insight. There's quite a few of us, so I'll just quickly read out the names. You can find us all in the RIDI website. We have Harjit Bansal, Lee Chambers, Tony Sharambides, Robin Christopherson, Terry Devine, Devine, sorry, Jackie Gavin, Nick Good, Maya Woodley, Adam Highland, Mohammed Kohali, Heather Lesay, who's here with us, Charlene Overend, Chris Rowland, and Kalpesh Shah. These are amazing people that will be, I'm really looking forward to having amazing discussions with them in the next month to judge the entries. So now it's time for a bit of an insider information. I'm delighted that we've got Heather Lesay with us this afternoon. I will ask Heather to briefly introduce herself. And basically, she and I will have some, a quick conversation. I'll have some quick questions for Heather to get the conversation going. So, Heather, are you ready?
I am ready, Maria.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. And please do correct me if I got your last name wrong.
Heather Lacey.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Fantastic. So just to get our conversation going, what I wanted to ask you was, as a fellow judge, What is the most enjoyable part of being a RIDI Award judge? And what is the hardest part?
That's a big question, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
firstly, just to say to everyone, I've been a RIDI Awards judge for a good few years now. So I work at Evershed Sutherland. I'm co-chair of our Ability Network. So that is a network that supports disabled people in the firm. We're a large global law firm. And I'll be honest, I'll give you a little bit of anecdotal information. When I joined the firm, I did not think it would be a place where I could thrive, if I'm being honest. I had a lot of preconceptions about what it would be like to work in law in particular. So for those who probably don't know me, I have a form of cerebral palsy, so I have issues with kind of movement, fatigue, all that kind of stuff. I also have PTSD, fibromyalgia, and a whole laundry list of other things going on. So I was a little bit apprehensive, if I'm being completely honest with you, when I first had an interview at Evershed Sutherland. But I'm so glad that I actually got to the interview and gave it a go, because I realised actually this is a place that can be for me. So even though I might have had preconceptions about what, work in a legal sector would be like, and particularly in a very corporate area, this has, really exceeded my expectations and really changed how I think. And the reason why I'm so, happy about being a RIDI Awards judge again this year, and have been for the past few years, is because it's quite amazing really to actually see that best practice. I think a lot of us in this space, particularly those of us who are disabled or, have people in our teams that are disabled, just really want to make sure that they feel able to bring themselves to work, that they can ask for help, that we have a culture that really, inspires that openness and that inclusivity. And I think the most lovely thing about the RIDI Awards is really seeing all that best practice and everything that goes into that. We know it's about progress, not perfection. We can't get things right all the time, and I think everyone is always looking to improve. I see Maria's nodding there, and there's always lots we can do. And I think the nice thing about the RIDI Awards in particular is you actually kind of get to hear from other people in a similar space to you. Think about where they are on their journey versus your journey. Are there things you can glean from that kind of experience that you can then embed in your own organisation? So I'd say that's the most enjoyable part, as well as, of course, networking with our fabulous judges and everyone else at RIDI, and all the entrants. But I think the hardest part would probably be sometimes there's so many good examples of best practice. You don't want anyone to feel disheartened if they, maybe don't make the award that they've entered. But I think what I would like to impress amongst this group in particular is starting somewhere is always the best option. Everyone is always on that journey to improvement with inclusion. I don't think the work ever stops. But just kind of putting your name forward and actually, showcasing what you do and making that kind of really visible and celebrating those successes, no matter how small, really helps to kind of elevate disabled people kind of in the workplace and how we can support them. So I'm aware that was probably a really rambling answer, Maria, but hopefully it gives you a little bit of an idea as to how important this is.
I completely get it. So, the other question I had for you was, what sort of things are you looking for when it comes to scoring the entries? I think it would be useful to hear about that, because anyone who will be entering for the awards, they would want to know about that. What is it that we're looking for?
There we go. Sorry, I was muted. So there's lots of different things really in terms of, what makes a good entry. I think as a judge, the thing that I really value is kind of being able to see a clear process in terms of the impact a company has tried to make. And I think, if there's something you can do around kind of showcasing data or any actual kind of anecdotes that, are easily kind of gleaned from your entry, that's really helpful. Again, I want to impress on everyone that, we don't expect perfection. No one's perfect. you could be the most inclusive company in the world and there'll be lots for you to work on. But, you know, just having that understanding of, you know, what disability inclusion looks like successfully in a business, and kind of elaborating on that with some, you know, some really great examples. And I think as well, you know, it's not easy sometimes to be presenting your achievements. I know some people really struggle with being able to do that. But actually, if you can make your entry as fully fleshed as possible, that really helps us as well to kind of really identify what it is you're doing that really encourages this inclusion throughout your business. And just as well, making sure that anything you are providing is kind of presented with a little bit of evidence or kind of some data that will help us to really understand that. I don't want to kind of step on toes. I think this question might be coming up around data and evidence. But I think that really helps as well. And I think, you know, knowing what things you need to improve on is really helpful because it gives us an idea as to where you are in your inclusion journey. Obviously, when you'll be entering for certain categories, as Maria said, we do chop and change depending on if we think actually you might be more advanced than you think. So that really helps us as well to understand, you know, that disability is kind of really taken at that board level. It's something your business really cares about and is really keen to impress on doing. So that's the sort of thing, really. I think having really nice experience, potentially backed up by disabled people in your organisation, if they can kind of add some flavour and some flair to some of your entries as well, that's really helpful. And then thinking about actual actionable data. So how can we actually measure that? What are the things that we might like to see and kind of show your improvement as well? So they're the sorts of things I look for. I don't know whether you have any other thoughts, Maria. I know you've been judge as well for a few years, so I'd be interested to hear what you think too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, I come very strongly from the perspective of the disabled job seeker. And as a disabled job seeker, I want to be inspired to work for the organization that I enter in the award. I want to feel that it can be my new family, that it can be my new place where I can belong. And I think it's so important to be inspired because disabled job seekers, they face so many barriers. They battle with rampant imposter syndrome all the time. And so it's so important that through showcasing your organization, you're really telling people, yes, you are welcome here. We want your expertise. We want your skills. And I think inspiring your next disabled talent to join you, I think that's what is so powerful about RIDI, the inspiration that comes with it, which leads me actually to the next question that I was going to ask you, Heather, which is, in your view, do you think it makes a difference to have supporting evidence for the entry?
I think based on what I said before, yes, for me it does. I think it really helps us to actually understand how you have implemented kind of policy and procedure and then the outcome for disabled job seekers, as you say, Maria. I mean, even when I think anecdotally about my own experience, and I kind of illustrated this a little bit, I came to Evershed Sutherland with the view that this wasn't necessarily a place for me. And that was because of preconceptions around the sector. And, you know, I'm very happy to say I've been completely proven wrong. So I think making sure that you have that supporting evidence for your entry can really help us to navigate through your entry and actually say, yes, we see the impact this has for disabled job seekers. And if I were to put myself back in that position as someone looking for a job, navigating lots of, you know, different conditions and mental health challenges, like you say, Maria, I'd like to understand how I would fit. Is there going to be that culture of openness and honesty? And can I actually bring myself to your business fully as much as I want to? I think that's the key, isn't it? So having supporting evidence really helps us to, you know, actually see that. And as I say, this is, you know, not everyone's going to have amazing kind of data sets for supporting evidence because that's not how things work. But if you are able to try and showcase that in some particular way, that's really helpful for us as judges, and really helps us to understand where you are in your disability inclusion journey.
Fantastic. So thank you so much, Heather. I think these are great tips in terms of, what you like to share when you're entering the awards. So thank you so much for joining us. And now what I'm going to do is hand back over to Kate.
Thanks, Maria, and thanks, Heather, as well, for all of those insights. If you needed any further encouragement, I don't know what it might be, because that's got me thinking, who else can I nominate? I've already nominated a few great people. So that's about the judging process. You've heard about the background to RIDI, but this is all about winning, isn't it? Because it's our award ceremony. So I'm really pleased that we've got two of our last year's winners with us. And I'm going to be introducing Marsham Court Hotel and Page Group, who will share some of their story with us, and maybe a little bit of news. I'm just saying, watch this space. And first off the pass is definitely going to be Marsham Court Hotel, who were the winner of the Disability Confident Private Sector Award last year. And what happens at the RIDI Awards is that in the moment, on the evening, we vote on all of the award winners to come up with our Greatest Impact Award. And I'm delighted to share that Marsham Court were also the winner of the Greatest Impact Award last year. And I think when I introduce James and he tells us a little bit more about it, there will be no surprise as to why that was. So, James, can I introduce you? Are you ready, willing and able?
I'm ready, yes. Hi, yeah.
Fabulous. So first of all, James, it'd be great if you could introduce yourself just briefly, and then I've got a couple of little questions for you.
Yep, so I'm James Dixon-Box. I'm the owner and operations director at the Marsham Court Hotel. I own the hotel with my brother and my sister. We're a family-run business down in Bournemouth. So yes, we're a 95-bedroom hotel. We've got a lot of event space and things like that. So that's what we do.
Thanks, James. And for our audience today, can you tell us a little bit about the project and or the work, actually, because it was a broader program with yourselves, yeah, that you used to enter into the RIDI Awards. So what was it that was judged by our wonderful panel last year for yourselves?
Well, we actually have done a lot of work over the last 5 years becoming one of the most accessible hotels in the UK. We're the first hotel in the UK to have a changing places facility. We have a sensory room. We have 5 fully accessible bedrooms with ceiling track hoists and profiling beds. And that was all born out of personal experience. Our cousin has cerebral palsy and has been in a wheelchair her whole life. And our mother was actually diagnosed with a form of cancer that attacked her spine. So for the last few years of her life, she was in a wheelchair. And it became a real struggle for her to go out and do anything and go anywhere. And it became this real source of stress for her. So she didn't really want to go out. She didn't want to go anywhere. And so we decided that actually this was going to be a big focus for us, to be able to offer people a place to come and stay that wasn't a stressful experience, that where they knew they would come and they would have the facilities that they needed. And then having done that, I then sort of looked at the business and I thought, actually, that's great for our customers and that's great for our offering, but we should be looking more within as well and focusing on our disability employment. We have had, funny enough, we went on a journey to become a disability confident leader, thinking that we weren't really doing much. And actually we realized how much we were doing in the partnerships that we have in the local area. We work with a lot of charities and organizations offering placements, work experience and paid employment, and apprenticeships. And we have, for example, a room in the hotel which is a classroom, and that is set up for a group called SHI, which is Classroom in the Heart of Industry, and they work with SEN school leavers who aren't really ready to go out into the world of work yet, who need a bit more training and guidance. So they have a classroom here. They do maths and English and key skills for half the day, and then the other half of the day they go around into different departments all over the hotel and work with our team, learning new skills, whether that be in maintenance or restaurant or even in the kitchen, things like that.
Brilliant. I just, every time I hear the story, James, I'm still thinking, I can't believe just how much you do. And I know there's lots more beyond what you've already shared.
I'd be talking for hours if I went.
No, I know. And that's why there was, for those of you who were thinking that's not like Kate to have a brief moment, it's just I was waiting for the next bit because I know there's so much more. But thank you for that. And obviously the case study is available on the RIDI website. But I know for you, James, that RIDI wasn't the beginning of the journey, nor was it the end. So what's happened since RIDI in terms of what's the impact the awards had on the business and what's happened in the last sort of 12 months?
Funny enough, I think for us now, we are very solid in what we do here, but winning an award like this has actually given us the confidence to say, actually, we know what we're doing here. And no matter what is thrown at us, we can find a way to help. We can find a way around it. So for example, next week we have a colleague joining us who is the first person that we've worked with who is deaf. She's coming to join us in our housekeeping department. And I think a couple of years ago that would have really thrown us, and I don't really know if I would have known how to go about helping her. But as it is, it wasn't even a question. She came in for interview. She was interviewed confidently. We've offered her a job. We've got BSL interpreters lined up for her first couple of days to make sure that her initial training goes all on track. We're helping her in association with CTEC. We're helping her get her access to work grants in place and things like that. So a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have known where to start with that. Whereas now I've got that confidence, and it wasn't even a question when she first emailed me and said, by the way, it was absolutely fine, not a problem.
I mean, that's a great example to share. Thank you so much. Because sorry, James. Yeah.
Sorry. The other thing I would say as well is since the award, I think the publicity that we've got has meant that we are asked a lot to come and speak at events and to help other businesses to be more confident in what they're doing and what they're offering, and understand that actually, A, it makes great business sense, and B, it's not as hard as it seems, and there is help out there and there is support. You're not on your own when you're doing these things, and you can offer a lot more than you think you can.
I mean, that's literally music to my ears. It's kind of what I was hoping you would share, that one of the things that the RIDI, the RIDI movement, if you like, is set out to achieve is linking people with other like-minded people, giving you the opportunity to celebrate and share your learning so that other organisations can make similar advances in the sector. There's no competition in disability, there's just sharing and partnership and collaboration, really. So, James, just before we introduce Sherry, any top tips for anybody planning on entering? I know we've had a few already, but this is what this webinar is all about. What would you suggest they did?
I think a couple of things. Make sure you understand what you're being asked. When you're sort of putting things down there, make sure you're really giving some great detail. Give examples of how it's helping. Be specific. But also for me, in particular, when I was applying for the RIDI Award last year, and I looked at the website and I was looking at the kind of companies that we would be up against, I was thinking, this is just crazy. I mean, when we got the list of finalists last year and we were up against KPMG and Unilever, I was thinking, oh goodness me, this is ridiculous. But actually, not only did we win the Disability Confident Award, but also the Greatest Impact Award. And I think for me, I think my biggest piece of advice would be confident. No matter how big or small your business is, you can still go out there and make a real impact. And actually, you can actually be noticed for that and recognized for that. So don't worry if you're worried about how small your business is or anything like that. Just go for it.
Again, I think that's a great tip. And 2/3 of our employment in the UK is smaller, SME, smaller businesses, and we do encourage them that there is a lot of history with RIDI of smaller businesses succeeding. And I know that Unilever and KPMG were some of the first to come and congratulate you, James. So again, I hope you've negotiated great discount for both for future use in the hotel. I mean them to you, by the way, not you to them. So thank you so much. I hope we see you at this year's award. Obviously, having entered once doesn't mean to say you can't enter again, or there may be organisations locally or within your sector that you now feel you'd like to give them an opportunity and nominate them as well. So whatever way you can, James, I know you'll support us. So thank you again for your time today. Much appreciated.
Pleasure.
And I'm going to now introduce another winner from last year, which is at Page Group, and I'm going to introduce Sherry and ask Sherry if you could introduce yourself, if you would please. And I think you might have some news to share with the RIDI community.
I may do, yes, I may do. Thanks very much for having me. I'm Sherry Hughes. I've been at Page Group a really, really long time. And every time I do this, I think, oh gosh, you know, when it's into decades, you just kind of start losing a few years, don't you? But only been in DEI with Page since 2015, so coming up 10 years. But we're a recruitment company, if you don't know what the business do. And the big news is we are delighted to be hosting the RIDI Awards this year. So we've got some very swanky new offices on the Strand. And yeah, can I give the date, Kate? Yeah,
you can.
5th of December. You're all welcome. Please come. Yeah, it's on us this time.
Thanks, Sherry, and thank you so much. And DWF, who've consistently hosted for the last few years and put on an amazing event for us, absolutely devastated. Their conference suite is being refurbished right across the time period that we're doing the RIDI Awards. And Page Group, I have to say, unhesitatingly and very generously stepped up immediately. So we can't thank you enough, Sherry. And we've had sneaky preview photographs of the venue, which looks amazing. So looking forward to it. We're on, we're off.
We're on, we're on. You heard it here. We're on.
We heard it here first, yeah. It'll be on the BBC this evening.
Yeah.
So Sherry, in addition to your continuous generosity to RIDI, and it has been continuous, this isn't the first thing you've done for RIDI over the years, I know that. What people today be really interested in is your entry from last year. So what was it that you chose to share with the RIDI judges last year as your Making a Difference in the Private Sector award?
Well, this might surprise you all, but actually it was about our recruitment process. I know as global recruiters, we should have everything, you know, spot on, but that's the point. You know, you need to be demonstrating to your clients the best way of doing it. So we've been working really, really hard on our inclusive process. And there's a reason Kate flashes up some of these brands, you know, when she talks about who are the gold partners and so on, because actually we use a lot of those people to make sure we are doing things as best as we possibly can. So we get ourselves inclusively hiring accredited by Clear Company first. You know, we get candidates from Even Break and other disability organisations such as Ambitious About Autism. We use Recite Me on our website to make sure that we've got great accessibility for candidates to be able to engage with us. And then when they join the business, it's about the onboarding. So we use Clear Talents as a workplace adjustment tool. So you'll be familiar with lots of these companies, I'm sure. But then it's kind of about the environment, isn't it, when you get there? So we've got an entire accessibility hub, because when you use certain platforms such as Teams, as we are today, and Microsoft, there is so much functionality, but often not known by the people who need it most. So then when our people join, they get a chance to sit down with our accessibility consultant, who we got from Even Break, interestingly, to just have a bit of a whistle-stop tour around what systems are going to work best for them and which are the tools they should tap into. And often, even if they have used in previous parts of their either working career or education, sometimes they don't know what the updated ones are. So we found that's been really, really useful, because it never stops, does it? It never stops how you support someone in the workplace. It's not just about the attraction process and the assessment process. It's critically about once they join and how you can keep them and give them more opportunities.
Thanks, Sherry. And I know, you know, the judges on the day were impressed, particularly by the comprehensive nature of what you'd done. It wasn't just, you know, pinpricks on the surface. It was end to end, making sure that every single step was accessible. So thank you for that, and congratulations again, obviously, on the big win last year. And our attendable colleagues were very proud to see your RIDI Awards, plural, centre stage in your reception. So that's also good. Right. One of the things that the RIDI judges are always interested in, Sherry, and you heard me ask James the same question, is what have you continued to do that's made progress since the award? So what's happened since?
So the office is a really important one. Actually, it's just probably two prongs of accessibility. So if I do the workplace itself, we have moved offices and refurbished a lot of our offices in the last 12 months. And just the fact that we can host you in the Strand epitomises it all. We were really, really careful around who we got involved with the project manager, because historically, I don't think we'd ever really done that. So we had wheelchair users, neurodiverse colleagues, blind colleagues, all getting involved with the project manager. The project manager had never seen anything like it. He went, I thought I was quite on the front foot when it came to accessibility, but you lot are coming up with things I have never even heard of. And the Strand office is absolutely testament to not only did the project manager recognise how seriously we took it, he put everything in. He put absolutely everything in. We even have talking toilets. I mean, I didn't know talking toilets were a thing, but we have.
I didn't know they were a thing.
Kate, you'll love it. You'll love it. You'll be able to navigate your way around when you get there.
Yeah, of course. It's
brilliant. It's brilliant. It is for visually impaired, and so that's what it's tended with. Interestingly, we did have a visually impaired charity come around afterwards and just go, but is it really as accessible as you think it is? They were blown away. So it's been really well thought through, and our offices across the UK are all the same, and we're getting there across the globe as well. So that's one thing. It's proper 100%. Thank you, 100%. Yeah, part of our commitment to accessibility, but also from a technology perspective. So since last year, after we submitted the award, we've actually started a full accessibility audit with a company called DQ. Though this is a big deep dive into actually what are all of our systems doing, what's our website, what's our infrastructure, what's our supply chain, and that's ongoing. But that again is another demonstration that it doesn't end once you submit an award. That's just the next step to
it's part of the continuous journey, isn't it? Definitely. Yeah. And again, before I hand over to Catherine, so that people can actually finally work out how they can enter themselves, have you got a last top tip for people, Sherry, who are thinking about entering, they may be teetering?
I have, and I had to think about this quite carefully, because I was once told you only apply for an award if you think you can win it, right? And the first few awards I did do when I started out my DEI career, I did win. But what I realised on reflection is it's not that. It's actually making the step to bigging yourself up. And it's funny, Heather, you touched on it as well. It's about, we want everyone to share best practice, but if you're anything like me, by nature, we often downplay our achievements. Well, writing an award submission is the opposite. It is making you think about, and actually, Marshall Court, I'm so sorry, I forgot your first name. He said it as well. Suddenly he realised doing the Disability Confident Leader thing, you realise how much you've done. So writing an award, firstly, gives you an enormous boost in confidence because you realise how much you've done. And just do it. The only way we all get better in disability inclusion is by understanding what everyone is doing. By knowing the brilliant work that Marshall Court Hotel are doing, by knowing that actually this is how you leverage the work you did before and you go from one award to the next. Just do it. Fly your flag of achievement and do it. Do you know what? And you may win.
That's a brilliant top tip, Sherry. Thank you so much. And I've got to take the opportunity to say that you made us do that last year at the Clear Company. And for the first time ever, we entered the Recruiter Awards and we won. So we were Consultancy of the Year for the Recruiter Awards. And it was your motivation that empowered us to do that. So thank you very much for that as well. So if you want to have a go, here's how to do it. I'm going to hand over to you, Catherine. Thank you both, James and Sherry.
Great. muting my microphone after all that, so sorry about that. Thank you, Kate, and everybody else. Let me just see if I can get the spotlight from you, Kate. Just bear with me. Doing two things at once. There we go. Yeah, so how to enter. So this year we've taken some feedback from last year, and every year we try and make the awards as easy and accessible as possible to enter. So if you go to the RIDI Awards the RIDI website, my colleague's going to share the link in the chat. All the information about the awards is there. You can meet all the judges. You can read the each category and a description of what the judges are looking for. There's also a link to our nominations pack, which has all the information. Some people like to have it offline so that they can print it out or work on it in their own time and not do it live. So we've put everything on the website. Once you're ready to make your nomination, if you go back there and you choose your category and hit the nominate button, it will take you through to the awards platform that we're using this year, which is called Zealous. And so I'm going to just take you through in a few steps what you need to do. And again, all the information that we put on the RIDI Awards website, on the RIDI website in the awards section, is also on Zealous. So all the information's in both places. You don't need to worry about looking for it. If you misplace your nomination pack, you can get it again from when you're doing the entry. So when you get to the portal, this is the landing page, and your first step is really once you're ready to apply, so you can scroll down and see all the information. You will first of all have to create an account, unless you already have an account on Zealous and you've done a previous nomination or entry with them for something else. So you put your email address, your name, and your password, and you do the I'm not a robot thing, and you register. This is really good to keep a note of your password. You can obviously reset it. But if you want to start your nomination and save it and go back to it, you'll need to log in again using your account. So hopefully all pretty straightforward. So once you're in, there's a simple application form to complete. Excuse me. And the first thing you do is from this drop-down menu, which categories do you wish to submit to? You can highlight it. So if you click on the arrow, all the categories come down. Now you've got a choice, really. You can enter one answer and submit it to multiple categories. So if you decided you want to enter all 9 categories using one answer, you can select all the boxes in the drop down. If you want to enter more than one category using different answers, which I think would be I would recommend, because then you're giving really specific information for each category. Then all you need to do is complete it once, then log back into your account and do another application, choosing the category that you want. So these are the questions you're going to be asked. Who are you nominating? So the first question. So that's either yourself, if it's one of the individual awards, or your organisation or your team. And you can, of course, nominate somebody else. So we like to make it easy. There are lots of people that don't like to shout about. So taking Sherry's point about the good work that they're doing. But there are lots of people that are recognising good practice in others. So if you come across somebody that you think deserves recognition in the RIDI Awards, you can nominate them, an individual organisation or agency or a team. But if you do that, we would ask that, so a bit further down the screen, we'll ask for some contact details, because sometimes we need to check some of the information, or you might just provide a short oversight, and we want to follow up so that the judges get more information. So are you nominating? Who you're nominating? Is it yourself or somebody else? And then this is the main section. Tell us why this nominee should win. You have 400 words. It doesn't sound a lot, but the judges have to read through everything and the supporting information. So you've got to make every word count. Don't worry too much about what it looks like, but you can, of course, bold things and use bullet points and link to things within your 400 words. That's absolutely fine. It's not a competition of how beautiful it looks. It's more about the information that's in there. And as I say, you can save that and return to it, or as I've said before, use the nomination pack to draft it offline and then copy and paste it into the box. And then just below that box, this is where you get to upload the supporting evidence. So we accept, I don't know, I haven't even heard of all of those file types. So there are JPEGs and GIFs and PNGs and MP3s and MP4s. So you can have a video, you can just use a web link, you can have PDFs and documents and Excel spreadsheets, and I don't even know what some of them are at the end. ODT. I'm sure they're great file formats, but you can use that. You can have up to 3. We say it's not compulsory, but as you'll have heard from the judges and our winners, it's obviously the more information you can give, the better it is for the judges. And then just finally, a couple of questions. Would you like to join the RIDI mailing list? And then at the very end, the system requires us to capture your contact details. So that's also helpful. For example, if you're nominating somebody else, and we can't get hold of them, then we've got another point of contact. And that is really, really it. I know I've whistled through it, but I think it is quite a straightforward process. We're a little bit over time, but we did start a couple of minutes late. Very happy to take any questions about the entry if anybody wants to stay on, and I can go through those. And this is just to summarise the tips again. You can enter more than one category. You can prepare your nomination offline. We've shared the link to the awards nominations pack. Make sure you show and tell. So put the information and demonstrate the evidence. Use that supporting evidence to extend those 400 words, and the judges do look at it all. You can start your nomination and come back to it anytime. The deadline is the 30th of September. And of course, if you would prefer if you need some assistance with your application, or you'd like to just record a video message or have some other support, then contact us. We want to make it as accessible and as easy for as many people to enter as possible. And I'm just going to end, before I hand back to Kate, to do a quick close with a recap of the key dates. So that is the beautiful entrance to the Page Group offices, which we can now reveal. And they're on the second floor, but overlooking the River Thames on the other side. So it's going to be fabulous. So 30th September, the entries close. 22nd of October, we'll announce the shortlist. The 5th of December is the awards ceremony at Page Group. So best of luck to anybody that enters. We encourage you all to give it a go. Kate, over to you.
Thanks, Catherine, and well done for surviving that. Touch and go at certain points.
Sorry.
But no, please don't be. Thank you so much. And just a big thank you to everybody for joining us today. Good luck with your entries. Good luck with your nominations as well. Don't forget, if you don't want to enter yourself, then please nominate. The contact details are up there. If you need any help or support, please do get in touch, and we'll endeavour to help and support your next stages.